The low, strained rasp on the other end of the line was almost unrecognizable as Julian Pierce's voice. It was a sound stripped of its usual command, replaced by a ragged edge of desperation. The address he gave was for the Grand Excelsior, followed by a room number, before the connection abruptly ended. For 5 years, Leo Vance had been the picture of efficiency, an unflappable secretary to a man who commanded boardrooms with an icy calm. This, however, was a different kind of crisis. He grabbed a new model inhibitor from the medical kit he kept for such emergencies and headed for the garage. The door to room 2203 was unlocked. It swung open under his tentative push, revealing a cavern of absolute darkness. The only light was the intermittent, pulsing cherry of a cigarette ember across the room. A hot hand shot out from the shadows, clamping around his wrist and yanking him inside. The door clicked shut behind him, plunging them into shared blackness. He stumbled, his momentum carrying him forward until he collided with a chest as hard as marble. The heat radiating from Julian was alarming. He tried to pull back, but the grip on his wrist tightened, and another arm snaked around his waist, pinning him in place. A feverish heat like this was a dangerous symptom of a susceptible period spiraling out of control. Leo fumbled in his bag with his free hand, his heart hammering against his ribs. He produced the sleek injector, his voice steady despite the tremor he felt inside. He asked if Julian wanted him to administer the inhibitor. There was no reply, only the sound of strained breathing in the dark. Growing more anxious, Leo patted Julian's arm, a gesture meant to get his attention. The world suddenly tilted as Julian spun them both around, disorienting him completely. Before he could question the movement, a sharp sting pricked the sensitive skin on the back of his neck. A cold dread washed over him. Julian wasn't seeing him, his loyal beta secretary. He was seeing a solution, a comfort for an instinct he could no longer suppress. The realization sparked a frantic struggle. He twisted in the unyielding embrace, his voice rising in panic. He reminded Julian, his voice cracking, that he was Leo, a beta, not the omega he so clearly craved. The pressure at his neck vanished instantly. The arms holding him went slack. In the profound darkness, Julian's voice was a deep thrum of apology and raw vulnerability, explaining that the susceptibility had overwhelmed him. He then asked for the inhibitor. Leo's hands were shaking as he handed it over. Just as he was about to ask if Julian needed assistance, the room's lights flickered on, bathing the scene in a soft, golden glow. Julian stood before him, his shirt undone, revealing the sharp, defined lines of his abdomen. He looked away quickly, his cheeks flushing. Julian's shoulders slumped as he sat on the edge of the bed, the image of a powerful man brought low. He asked, his voice quiet, if Leo could give him a hug. It was a startling request, a plea for comfort from a man who never showed weakness. The offer of an extra month's salary followed, a desperate attempt to bargain for a moment of solace. Leo's professionalism warred with a deeper, more complicated emotion. He maintained that it would be inappropriate. Julian's aura seemed to shrink, the air around him growing heavy with dejection. Silently, he extended his arm, the pale skin and the blue line of a vein an unspoken request. Leo sighed, a quiet sound of resignation. He efficiently uncapped the inhibitor, disinfected the skin, and administered the dose with practiced ease. Once finished, he asked if Julian needed his driver to take him home. Julian always weathered these episodes in the privacy of his own penthouse. He shook his head, stating he would stay at the hotel. A flicker of suspicion crossed Leo's mind, but it was not his place to question. He offered to order a meal and began to turn away, but Julian's hand shot out, catching the fabric of his suit jacket. Julian avoided his gaze, mumbling an explanation that his own clothes had been torn and he needed the jacket to cover it for an important video conference that afternoon. The flaw in the plan became apparent the moment Leo stepped into the hotel's grand lobby. Julian Pierce was a full head taller than him, with the broad shoulders of a man who frequented the gym. His jacket would look absurdly small on him. With a sigh, Leo changed course, heading towards the luxury boutiques of Fifth Avenue. He found a Canali store and quickly purchased a full suit, charging it to the personal expense card Julian had entrusted him with. On his way back, a whimsical shop window caught his eye. It was a specialty boutique filled with plush, impossibly soft creations designed for nesting omegas. He thought of Julian, alone and fragile in that hotel room. Before he could talk himself out of the sentimental impulse, he was walking out with a large, plush rabbit clutching a pink scarf. Back at room 2203, the door opened before he could knock. Julian stood there, his hair damp, his posture radiating a tense annoyance. Leo explained the sizing issue and handed over the new suit bag. He then presented the doll, claiming it was a complimentary gift from the store. Julian raised an eyebrow but took the items, tossing the suit onto a chair and the rabbit onto the bed with a distinct lack of care. As he turned back towards Leo, the air between them was thick with a cloying sweetness Leo now recognized, a scent that clung to the disheveled room. It was too intimate, too revealing. He took a half step back, averting his eyes. He asked for his jacket back, stating he would leave if there was nothing else. Julian's reply was clipped. He claimed to have stained it with sweat while trying it on and said he would have it cleaned and returned. Without waiting for a response, he closed the door. For a fleeting second, Leo's gaze had fallen on his own jacket, discarded on the sofa, and noticed a faint, telltale stain on the collar. He shook his head, trying to dismiss the thought. The new inhibitor worked wonders. Julian was the picture of composure during the afternoon conference call. Leo, however, felt a growing dizziness. The day ended with a call from Julian, granting him a paid 3-day leave. Julian's voice was laced with something that sounded like concern, mentioning how pale Leo had looked earlier and insisting he rest. After he hung up, Leo rubbed his temples, a dull ache throbbing behind his eyes. Returning to work after his leave, the office was buzzing with gossip. Chloe, from marketing, cornered him by the coffee machine. She relayed the rumors about Mr. Pierce spending his susceptible period with an omega at a hotel. Leo gave a non-committal reply, insisting it was a private matter. Later, Julian summoned him. On his desk was a stack of resumes for a graduate recruitment program. Julian handed him a single file from the pile. The name on the page was Liam Evans. Omega. Graduated from Stanford. Julian's directive was curt. Liam would start the next day as an assistant to the president's office, and Leo was to personally handle his onboarding. A strange sense of foreboding settled over Leo. He had always known this day would come, but the reality of it was a quiet, hollow ache. Liam Evans arrived promptly at 9 the next morning. He was bright and charming, with a subtle sweet scent like cherry wine clinging to him. The trip to the Human Resources Department became unexpectedly awkward. Linda, the HR manager, greeted Leo with a knowing look and made a comment about him spending the past 3 days with the boss. Before Leo could react, Liam introduced himself. The easy smile on Liam's face faltered for a second, his eyes darkening. In that moment, Leo felt a jolt of alarm. He quickly and loudly clarified that the rumors were false, that Mr. Pierce had not spent his susceptible period with him, and that Julian had always preferred omegas. Later that afternoon, Julian's voice came through the intercom, summoning both Leo and Liam to his office. After a few minutes, he dismissed Leo. Time seemed to crawl as Leo sat at his desk, trying to focus on his work. Eventually, Julian and Liam emerged. Julian held out his car keys to Leo. He explained that Liam was very important to him and instructed Leo to drive him home. The address Liam gave was for the same exclusive high-rise where Julian owned the penthouse. Liam invited him in for tea. While he waited in the elegantly furnished living room, Leo's eyes scanned his surroundings. On a drying rack on the balcony hung a suit jacket that was unmistakably his own. On a bookshelf nearby, nestled between leather-bound volumes, sat a plush rabbit with a pink scarf. The pieces clicked into place with a sickening finality. Liam returned, casually mentioning that he had asked him to return the clean jacket. The identity of he was painfully obvious. Leo accepted the garment stiffly, made his excuses, and left. Back in his own apartment, he sat on the sofa in the dark, the suit jacket draped over his lap. He threw it in the trash can. A call from Julian came later, informing him that both he and Liam would be handling the resort project negotiations over the weekend. The finality of the decision was a quiet, devastating blow. The next day, a message from Julian appeared in the team's group chat. "Everyone, please forward all files pertaining to the resort project to Liam." Leo's fingers hovered over the keyboard for a long time before he typed a single word. "Okay." That afternoon, he wrote his resignation letter. He didn't submit it immediately, choosing to wait for a moment when Julian would be too busy to notice his departure. He went to work for 4 more days, each morning an exercise in quiet agony as he watched Liam arrive in the passenger seat of Julian's car. On Friday afternoon, Julian called him into his office and attempted a clumsy reassurance, telling him not to worry about the rumors and that his bonus was secure. He insisted that Liam's presence was for other reasons and that Leo would always be the most important to him. Leo smiled and nodded, his expression placid, but he knew Julian had already made his choice. That night, he packed a single bag, booked a late-night Amtrak ticket, and left the city without a word. As the train pulled away from Penn Station, the city lights blurring into streaks of gold and white, he blocked everyone's number and began to take stock of his new, solitary life. The quiet of his small hometown was a stark contrast to the city's constant hum. To combat the silence and his shrinking savings account, he started an anonymous social media account. He created short, animated videos, narrating the story of a 9-year unrequited love. He started from the beginning in high school. He was a struggling sophomore, adrift in grief after his parents' death. Julian was a senior, a distant, untouchable figure. He recounted the memory of standing before the exam results board, being publicly shamed for his falling grades, and Julian's voice cutting through the whispers, calling it pathetic to use someone's pain for gossip. He detailed the strange string of luck that followed. The legal aid from Julian's family company, the top-tier tutor whose fees were mysteriously waived. He moved on to college, where he'd been admitted to the same university. The embarrassing incident during freshman check-in, where Julian had calmly read aloud his history of fawning comments on the student forum. He detailed the slow, careful friendship they had built. The shared lunches, the evening walks, the way Julian would only drink the water he brought to basketball games. He described the turning point, a party where another alpha's sudden susceptible period caused a stress reaction in the omega's present, and he, a beta, had inexplicably fainted. He woke in a private hospital to Julian's intensely worried face. That was when he decided to confess his feelings. But then came the discovery of the notebook, a strange, inexplicable thing that appeared out of nowhere and detailed the fated romance between an S-class alpha and an S-class omega. A story that matched Julian's life with unnerving accuracy. The final blow was overhearing Julian's cold, indifferent statement to another admirer. "I don't like any beta." From that day on, he resigned himself to his role, becoming the perfect, detached assistant. The videos went viral. One day, a private message appeared. It was Chloe. She had somehow found his account, her explanation about tracking his IP address feeling thin and strange. She told him that Julian had been a tyrant since he left, his temper barely held in check. At this, a flicker of something he refused to name sparked in his chest, only to be extinguished when she mentioned that Liam's presence was the only thing that made the office bearable. Late one night, the notebook reappeared, falling open on his desk. The story had been updated. The protagonist Omega had run away from the Alpha. Julian's sudden business trip, the one Chloe had mentioned, was not for a deal. It was a hunt. A bitter smile touched Leo's lips. Life had to go on. He pushed the thought away and made plans to furnish his new house. A concrete step towards a future he was determined to build for himself. After placing an order at a large home furnishing store, he walked out into the cool evening air, feeling a fragile sense of peace.